Dear Mom and Dad, how are you? It's the end of the semester and I'm really under the gun. I'm up to my eyeballs in work. The amount of reading my professors assign is ridiculous, and as you know, I thought I'd try my hand at a new sport and joined the university's rowing team this semester. With that decision, I may have bitten off more than I can chew. Between school, my job, and that, the only time I find to study is late at night. I'm burning the midnight oil 6 days out of 7. And even though I've really buckled down and begun to study, I'm still not finding the time to get everything done. What else? Oh, my old computer finally bit the dust. What a pain in the neck, right at the end of the semester. It really puts me between a rock and a hard place. I try to use the computers in the library, but it's only open until 11 p.m. I never make it there on time, so I have to ask my roommate if I can use his computer. But as you know, the guy's a bit odd. Personally, I don't think he's playing with a full deck. You know, I always say, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But the favors he asks of me are usually outrageous, and he then gets mad if I don't agree to them. The other day, he asked to borrow my car for a 6-hour drive to visit his girlfriend for the day. When I said no, he blew up at me. And then that night, about an hour after I had turned in for the night, he got up, turned on his music, and started to do yoga. Anyway, money's not so good now that I have to save for a new computer. I don't want to cut corners and buy a cheap computer because I'd just have to replace it soon anyway. On a more positive note, I'm all about this rowing thing. I wanted to be on the competition team next semester, but thought I didn't have a prayer, since for most of the guys on that team, rowing is old hat. They've been at it since they were kids, and I'm still green. But Coach said yesterday that if I keep at it, I'm a shoo-in for a position on the competition team. That made my day. Well, that's all for now. I'll write again soon. Love, Brad. To be under the gun.
To be under pressure or stress. Brad has a lot of work at the end of the semester and feels stressed. He is under the gun.
To be up to one's eyeballs in something.
To have a lot of or too much of something. Brad has a lot to read for his classes. He is up to his eyeballs in reading.
To try one's hand at something.
To try something for the first time. Brad was interested in rowing and wanted to try it. He wanted to try his hand at rowing.
To bite off more than you can chew.
To commit yourself to more than you can handle. Brad has committed himself to a job, school, and the rowing team. He cannot finish all the work he has to do. He has bitten off more than he can chew.
To burn the midnight oil.
To be awake and doing something late at night. Brad can't find time to work during the day, so he stays up late to work almost every night. He is burning the midnight oil.
To buckle down.
To dedicate yourself to an activity, to work very hard and seriously at something. Brad has begun to dedicate himself more wholly to his schoolwork and to take his studies seriously. He has begun to buckle down and study.
To bite the dust.
To break. To be no more. To die. After 5 years, Val's favorite sneakers finally broke and she can't wear them anymore. Her sneakers finally bit the dust.
To be a pain in the neck.
To be an annoyance, a difficulty, a hindrance. Francis likes owning a big car, but it's difficult to find a place to park in the city. Parking a big car in the city is a pain in the neck.
To be between a rock and a hard place.
To be in a position where you can't do what you want to do because you're caught between two options that are both difficult or disagreeable. Sarah wants to accept the job offer, but if she does, she'll have to move to a different city, away from friends and family. She's really caught between a rock and a hard place.
To not be playing with a full deck.
To behave in an illogical or crazy way. To be crazy. Greg acts strangely. He talks to his books and sleeps under his bed. He isn't playing with a full deck.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Said about a situation in which two people can benefit from each other's help. Each will do the other a favor in order to get what he or she wants from the other person. Brad agrees that if someone does him a favor, he should try to return it. He always says, "You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours."
To blow up at someone.
To suddenly get very angry with someone and yell. Brad's roommate becomes angry quickly when Brad refuses to return a favor. Brad's roommate blows up at him. To blow up also means to explode. Because Mendel forgot to put oil in the car, the engine exploded. The engine blew up. To blow something up also means to put air into, so that something takes shape. Mrs. Rozo took an air mattress camping, but forgot the automatic pump. She spent an hour blowing it up.
To turn in, or to turn in for the night.
To go to bed. Zoe stayed up until 4 a.m. watching TV before she finally decided to go to bed. At 4 a.m., Zoe finally decided to turn in for the night.
To cut corners.
To fail to spend the proper amount of money, effort, or time on something. Clarence tried to save time and money on his meal. He bought cheap ingredients and didn't spend enough time preparing the food. He cut corners on his meal, so it turned out awful.
On a positive note.
To talk about happier issues. Janet's son is always getting into trouble at school, but on a positive note, her daughter just won a scholarship.
To be all about something.
To be very interested or active in something. To like something very much. The only music Gloria listens to is classic rock. She's all about classic rock.
To not have a prayer.
To not have a chance or hope. As usual, our team will never make it to the playoffs this year. They don't have a prayer.
To be old hat.
To be something someone is accustomed to. Keeping track of inventory each month used to be a difficult job for Jude, but now he can do it without thinking. It has become old hat for him.
To be at something.
To engage or take part in something. They've been at volleyball for years, so they're great players by now. Notice that you can also say keep at something, meaning to continue to take part in something. They say practice makes perfect. You will get better at something if you keep at it.
To be green.
To be new or inexperienced. Geraldine can drive manual shift cars, but you can tell from her bumpy starts and stops she's still green.
To be a shoo-in.
To be the best or most likely candidate for something. A new position in human resources has opened up, and I think the bosses favor Mr. Joaquim for the position. He is the most qualified and experienced. He's a shoo-in for the position.
To make someone's day.
To cause someone great happiness, joy, or pride. I lost one of my favorite earrings a few months ago. Today I found it behind my bookshelf, and it made my day.